सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. There are three aspects to every dharma or culture. Those three aspects are: number one is karma, means rituals. By practicing which rituals a person's mind will be purified. That is the first aspect of dharma. That is karma. Karma means rituals. By following rituals, the refinement of the mind will take place. The second aspect of dharma is mythology. They call it as mythology. Somebody call it as mythology also. It can be called it as mythology also. Mythology means it consists of stories. Consists of stories from Upanishads, from Puranas. Of course, there is a fiction also in that Puranas. This mythology, that means story part, Puranic part of this aspect is a guideline for people to practice certain sadhanas, because the characters are depicted in the stories. The characters are depicted in the stories. In each character is with full of values, dharma. By reading those characters, taking it as a sadhana, and one can follow those sadhanas like tapas, meditations. It's called upasana also, we can call it as indirectly. Mythology is that by which stories we can do certain sadhanas. Those sadhanas like tapas, like that is austerity, and meditations. These are also helpful for a person as a sadhana. And the third aspect is known as jnanam, the highest wisdom or philosophy. The third aspect of dharma or culture is jnanam, highest wisdom, or you can call it as philosophy. First two aspects, that is ritualism, that means rituals or karma kanda. The second aspect, that is mythology or story parts, Purana, Bhagavatams, all Puranas, they put together called religion. They put together called religion. So rituals part is called karma, and upasana part, that is called mythology, put together religion. And the third part that comes philosophy, jnana kanda. The religion plus philosophy is called spirituality. Spirituality word is very, very fascinating to people to talk about spirituality, the word. The spirituality means what? Religion plus philosophy. What is the religion? Religion is that rituals plus upasanas. And the religion plus philosophy is called spirituality. There is no spirituality without religion. There is no spirituality without philosophy. Spirituality means religion plus philosophy. I am a religious person. Okay, are you a philosopher? No, I am philosopher. I am not a religious person. No, you are not a spiritual person. If anyone claim, I am just a philosopher, he is not a spiritual practitioner. If anyone says, I am only religious person, I don't want philosophy, he is not a spiritual practitioner or not a spiritual pursuit who is undertaking. Spirituality is away from him. In our Indian culture, religion plus philosophy only put together, then alone you can call it as spirituality. In the West, this type of synthesis is not there. Synthesis means integration of religion plus philosophy. It is not there in the West. What is the supremacy of Indian culture or Hindu Dharma? What is the greatness of our culture in this country? No? The integration of religion plus philosophy. That is called spirituality. Both are very much closely coexisted, like milk and water. Can you separate milk and water? They are beautifully integrated. This beautiful integration, that is religion and philosophy, which is called spirituality, you can never separate. It is impossible. Just as you cannot separate the water and the milk. The Western philosopher, the Greek philosopher Aristotle, a great philosopher, world famous philosopher, he has had a little to do with religion. He is a philosopher. Their philosophy is independent from religion. They never depend on each other. Therefore, Aristotle is only a philosopher. They never talk about religion. Even the great thinker, Bertrand Russell, a writer also, he is very much against to that organized church authorities, Catholic Church. He never accepts that religion. He is a great thinker. So in the West, spirituality is not there. Either there are religious people, orthodox people, or organized religion is there, or philosophers are there separately, they are independent. That's why spirituality word won't come in Western countries. There are great philosophers. But our culture is not like that. What is the advantage of this synthesis, integration? If this integration is not there, there is a lot of disadvantage. There is a lot of disadvantage. If a philosophy is not there, there is only rituals part, religious part, ritualism only there. Without philosophy, that religion is a blind faith. It is a superstition. It is a superstition. Without philosophy, only religion is there. People take up only religion. That religion is only a blind belief, blind faith. It is only a superstition. That is the disadvantage. And that superstitions and that blind faith will become feeble and feeble at any time without philosophy. The blind faith will not stand for long. Its purpose, its meaning also will be questioned later. Without philosophy, just rituals only people take up. There is a lot of big gulf also. Gulf, lot of gap. So therefore, religion plus philosophy is called spirituality. The spirituality is the backbone of this country, this culture. The spirituality means what now? Religion plus philosophy. Not only that, if without philosophy, religion is there, or religion without philosophy, philosophy without religion, that religion will be in what you can call in a very, very sad condition. It goes into a disappearing condition one day or other. Not only that, there is gulf means what I want to say, there is a big threat to religion and science. If philosophy is not included in religion, there is a big disadvantage, big gulf, or there is a lot of problems will arise between science and religion once you miss the philosophy in religion. The religion and science all tug of war between religion and science. For that, two examples I'll give you. Galileo, the first person in the West who found this telescope, and he studied whole astronomy, and he come to a conclusion, that is, earth is spherical. Earth is spherical, round. Earth revolves the sun. Earth is revolving itself and revolving the sun also, moving towards the sun. This is his theory. Galileo, you might have studied in your college schools days also. The Galileo is one of the great scientists who discovered the earth is spherical and it moves around the sun. When he published his papers, that religious heads, the church people, even though he is a staunch Catholic, that Galileo, in spite of that, the church heads immediately threatened him. You withdraw your statement. You withdraw your statement. What is that statement? Don't say earth is spherical. What Galileo said, earth is not flat, earth is spherical. But this orthodox church people, they are taking geocentric. The earth is geocentric, it is a flat. They asked him to withdraw the statement. And they kept him in seclusion also. They sent him in exile, seclusion. They didn't accept. Why, This is the truth, what he discovered, Galileo. The truth, the scientific truth, they are not able to accept because there is a gulf between philosophy and religion. Philosophy means what? Love for knowledge is called philosophy. Love for knowledge is called philosophy. Because of this gulf between religion and philosophy, the church people gave a lot of problems to Galileo. What an invention he has done. அதே நம்ம நாட்டில் பிறந்த கெலீலியோக்கு மகர்ஷியனே பேர் சொல்லிடுவோம். Varaha Mihira says that only. In Brihat Samhita, Varaha Mihira says, anywhere, any person in the world, even though he is a mlecha, means a foreigner, even though he is a mlecha, is a foreigner, but he discovers some truth in the nature, he can be called as a rishi. Rishati janati iti rishihi. That much open-mindedness to our sages. Then another example, Darwin evolutionary theory. No? First evolutionarist, Darwin, they say. So human being came out of monkey, like that he says, Darwin theory. That Darwin is considered as an anti-god by that church people. They didn't accept him and they condemned him, the Darwin, and they looked at him as anti-god. This is wrong. It is against to that God's principles. Like this, just I am giving one or two examples. Umpteen examples are there in the West like this. Therefore, religion and philosophy are very important. They have to coexist. In our culture, they are very happily coexisting. How they are coexisting? Not within overnight they have come from millennia. From about millennia means millions of years, this synthesis and this integration is there. It is injected. It is injected in the culture veins. The veins of the culture, it is injected. What? They are injected. This religion and philosophy, inseparable. It is injected to this culture. That's why very difficult this Hindu Sanatana Dharma to grasp for people. So this is about spirituality. I have given the outlook now. What do you mean by spirituality? This spirituality has to go along with science. How great our sages are, we have to know. How great they are. How much contribution they have done to the entire humanity. Next point we have to note, after this Galileo Darwin over, some more are going to come. They are modern science. Modern science, they say from brain only consciousness is born. Modern science. Modern science. So-called modern science. What they say, from brain alone, consciousness emerges out. That means, how to understand? Simple. We think science is very difficult. I am not a science student. I know very little. Okay, just I am sharing with you. Molecules of the neuron cells of the brain. What they say, how the consciousness is born from the brain, and molecules of the neuron cells of the brain gives birth to intelligence, that is consciousness. கேட்கறதுக்கே கஷ்டமா இருக்கும் நமக்கு இது எல்லாமே, வேதாந்திக் ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸுக்கு. Molecules of the neuron cells of the brain gives birth to consciousness. That means what? The grey matter is born first. Grey matter alone is there. From matter, consciousness is born. This is called modern neuroscience. Before this neuroscience coming, our Charvaka was there. Our Charvaka, what is the Charvaka? No, philosophy. Yavat jeevet sukham jeevet. Live happily as long as you live. I used to quote one sloka always, when Charvaka topic comes. Yavat jeevet sukham jeevet. Rinam krutva ghritam pibet. Borrow money and drink, eat Krishna sweets. Borrow money, eat Krishna sweets. Ghritam pibet. And all eat sweets, ghee sweets. Bhasmibhuta dehasya punaragamanam kutaha. Where is the question of body is coming? Punya, papa, rebirth. All these are not there. Swarga. All these are not there. The first materialist, this Charvaka. Charu Vak. Sweet words, flowery words. We have never penalized the Charvaka. We have never punished the Charvaka. We have respected the Charvaka with the title Rishi. Title Rishi. Charvaka Maharshi. Like that, many people came into this flow, of thinkers. Many thinkers came. There are a lot of scientists. Who are they? You can see Aryabhatta. Physicists and astrophysicists. They are all. The pronounce pandrathe kashtam. Physicists and astrophysicists who study astronomy and about nature and artham. Aryabhatta, Varaha Mihira, and Bodhayana, mathematicians like Bhaskaracharya, Leelavati. There are so many. To just utter the names of our philosophers, it takes 1 hour. To utter names only. 1 hour is also not sufficient. So many philosophers born here, but many of them are not in keeping with Vedic vision. Even Buddha, even Jaina Mahavira, that Charvaka, Buddha, Jaina Mahavira, there are so many philosophers. They have brought out their school of thought which is opposing the Vedic vision. We have never punished them. We have never penalized them. We have never sent them to seclusion. We have never blamed them. On the other hand, we have worshipped them. We are giving respect to them. They are all adorable. We are looking at them as Mahatmas. Even Nastikas, Veda Bahyas they are. They never accept Veda. Still, they are surviving in this country. With utmost respect, they are surviving. You come to Astikas also, Dvaitins, Vishishtadvaitins, Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya, all are happily surviving. Those schools of thoughts are also surviving. They are also opposing to the vision of Vedanta. See the synthesis here, the integration. The religion, their religious views are different. Philosophy is different. Still, they are all surviving here. Their philosophy is surviving. Because of what? Because of that accommodation. Accommodating nature. Open-mindedness. Very clear. And we allow everybody to think on their own. May you have your own knowledge. Whether to accept it or not, it is my personal thing. I need not blame you. It is your problem. It is just like the elephant, a big elephant, with the 2 white tusks. You have to look. It is that height is up to this roof. And such a great elephant. This is just my example. Okay. And such a huge elephant. Small mosquito is landing. Small fly is landing. Elephant do not know that about that mosquito and fly. Elephant never bother. Anytime it disturbs too much, it knows how to smash that, that mosquito. But elephant never bother maximum time. Suppose it wants to hurt and disturb the fly or a mosquito, then elephant knows how to eliminate that. Like this, the absolute reality, the Vedanta in this culture is like a huge elephant. It's like a huge 2 white tusked elephant. Upon that, All these Nastika, Astika, all other modern systems, all sciences are just resting. Consciousness is not born from matter. In consciousness alone, every materialistic science is floating. Aparavidya. All materialistic sciences, physics, chemistry, astronomy, astrology, whatever you talk, any science, just they are surviving and floating in that consciousness, which is absolute reality. No science can touch that, the highest wisdom. That highest wisdom is that consciousness was there, is there, ever will be there. This is the Vedantic vision. Shankaracharya, the genius and the greatest philosopher of all times, established that. Advaita Vedanta. This is higher order of reality, that absolute truth. All these are materialistic sciences. Every science is a knowledge. Every knowledge is sacred. Our sages considered that every knowledge is sacred. There is no secular knowledge. Every knowledge is sacred. There is Bhagavan everywhere. Either you have the knowledge of nature, either you have knowledge of Ishvara, both are sacred. Both are sacred. Study about stars and all is also sacred. Study about moon, sun, solar energy, lunar energy, everything is Bhagavan, sacred. Study of nature or study of Ishvara. Ishvara, who is God? What is this creation? Who is this Jiva? This study is also sacred. Study about that ocean, study about mountains, study about plant kingdom, study about other stars, everything is also Bhagavan. There is no division. Secular, sacred division is not there, not there, not there. It cannot be there. Because here spirituality is that much well rooted, well cemented. No one can even touch it. Further, if you want to see the Western scientists, Newton, Einstein, what are all the theories they brought out? That theory, Varahamihira said, that what? In Brihat Samhita, even Mlechas, great thinkers, can be titled as rishis. The modern Einstein is Adi Shankaracharya of ancient time, ancient India. What they are talking, Einstein, the great scientist, Newton, great scientist. Our Shankaracharya was ancient Einstein. Don't think Shankaracharya taught only Advaita Vedanta. He combined, he recommended all rituals, and he wrote many stotrams, and at the same time he brought the highest philosophy. So Karma Kanda, that is rituals, mythology and philosophy, integration we can see in his writings. That is the greatness of Shankaracharya. Similarly, another scientist, Fred Hoyle, pronounce பண்றது கஷ்டம், Fred Hoyle, Hoyle. He is a Gemini of ancient India. What he said, this Fred Hoyle, steady state theory. There is no creation newly created. Steady state theory. The modern Fred Hoyle is a Gemini, is equal to Gemini of our ancient India. And people think scientists means only in foreign countries. Whatever they are inventing, already that invention done by our sages, seers on this land, millions of years ago. That's what we have to know. Then, third, another modern Darwin, Kapila, Sankhya Kapila. Kapila Mahamuni is the first evolutionarist. In the Darwin varthukku munnadiye Kapila only introduced this Darwin theory. Darwin theory means what? Evolution. The parinama, how the prakriti is changing. So before Darwin is coming, Kapila did that. Now they are publishing very everywhere. But Darwin Siddhantam. Kapila yarukku theriyala. All these whatever scientists are telling, idella solli kodutittu pustakam mudichu apdiye they closed and they went off without their names. That is their beauty. They have never claimed any patent. No, the patent, this is ours. The royalty or copyrights, name, authorship, they have never claimed. None of our rishis claimed their authorship, their discoveries. This is my discovery. None of the author, none of the saints or sages, they never claimed. Why? Because I am not the author, Ishvara is the author. This is not my discovery. Whatever is already there, just I am presenting in front of you. I am not the author. That's why they have never claimed to their ego. This is, I am the owner of this discovery. And the ego they have kept aside. Why? Ishvara is the author. Ishvara is the Satchit Anandam consciousness existent principle in which my ego is floating. My ego is floating, through which ego, buddhi, intellect I have used little bit knowledge I have given this. This belongs to that Chaitanyam Brahma. They know the truth. That is why we call them as rishis. They integrate both. This is called spirituality and science, you see. Why the spirituality and science coexisted here? Because religion and philosophy are synthesized here. There is no clash, there is no quarrel. Even the views may be changed, views may be different, contradictory, but still they survive. It is also a truth, materialistic truth, a relative truth. Let them be there. It's a relative truth. They have found the truth through their sense organs. They have understood with their mind. Whatever they have understood with their mind and sense organs can be what? Is it Paramarthika Satyam or Vyavaharika Satyam? Vyavaharika Satyam. Doesn't matter, let them be there. A relative knowledge they have received through their sense organs. Therefore, we have no problem. It's a relative truth. Now see that beauty of that our ancestors. How so many religions here, so many people, so many worship, so many types. We are not in a position to understand. We are not in a position to understand. We are not mature enough. This is our problem. There is no problem in Sanatana Dharma or culture. In our Hindu Dharma, there is no problem at all. Even that is the only solution for entire humanity, for Shanti. When we can recognize this, when we can recognize this greatness, when we study our Shastra only we can recognize. One more philosopher. Now Kapila Sankhya is like a Darwin theory. The first evolutionarist is Kapila. Next, one more modern, this John Dalton, the atomist who talks about atoms. John Dalton. This John Dalton found that atoms, our Kanada Maharshi, the profounder of Vaisheshika, philosopher, already brought this atomic theory in her. Ivar varthukku munnadi in the John Dalton, recent, 18th, 19th, 20th century people only, they are all people. But our ancestors, in every field, even to take plastic surgery, Charaka and Sushruta were the first plastic surgeons in the world. They were rishis. Sushruta is a rishi, Charaka is a rishi. Great scientists. Now we are talking plastic surgery. They were the fathers of plastic surgery. Amazing, no? So many are there. Then one more person, one more point also I would like to say. The Edwin Hubble expanding theory. He is talking about expansion. What do you mean by expansion? For example, you take a balloon, flat balloon, and put 3-4 dots on that balloon. Then blow the air into that balloon. When it is flat, you put 2-3 dots, very close they are. Over here one dot, here one dot, here one dot. When you blow the air, the distance between the dots will increase or not? இதுக்கு என்ன PhD படிக்க வேண்டிய தேவையில்லை. You can understand. When you blow the air into that balloon, the dots, the distance will expand. Distance will increase. This is called expansion theory. Okay. In the Brahman balloon, the galaxies are like dots. Each galaxy, the Milky Waves, the stars, all these are like dots. They are expanding now. We call it as in Bhagavata Brahmanda Nayaka. He is known as Brahmanda Nayaka. Vishwarupa, Purusha Suktam is talking about this Brahmanda Nayaka expansion. This Edwin Hubble came only 1929 year. Where is our this expansion theory? So therefore, the scientific view was very much encouraged and synthesized with the spirituality. There is no threat to religion, philosophy, science. So religion, philosophy is called spirituality. There is no problem to spirituality and science. Science happily coexisted in this culture. Our children ask scientifically, you tell me scientifically. They ask science, ஏதோ ஃபாரினர்ஸுக்கு தான் சயின்ஸ் தெரியும், நமக்கு தெரியாத மாதிரி. But we also should look into this. What is the beauty? They have never claimed this knowledge as their. That we have to. It's a remarkable. We have never asked a patent. Yoga belongs to this country, born, brought up in this Patanjali Maharshi. It's a Adisesha Avataram. When yoga is here, how a other person can ask patent upon yoga is belong to our country? It's a big issue. I think you know that. Just like one child, you see, this child is mine, and you cannot just like that, you cannot claim. That child mother is somewhere. If she is there nearby or not, but real mother is somewhere. So the real mother is not available to my perception, therefore this child is mine. Can you claim? Patent? No. So mine, how can you claim? It's funny, no? It's funny. That's why let every culture have its own culture, dharma, its own philosophy, its own views. We need not fight with anybody. We can go smoothly along with them. And happily you can get self-knowledge also. There is no problem at all. That is the final point I would like to tell you. This synthesis or this integration, we have to understand. If I don't understand this philosophy, my religious practices, whatever I do, puja, temple, worship, pilgrimage, everything, don't make it as a blind faith. Never end up with superstition. Grow more and more. How to grow? If you grow alone, there is a life. Otherwise, you are just closing the doors for your growth. You are just closing your doors for your growth, inner growth, by your ignorance or innocence. And we have to pay price with fear. A lot of superstitions, tremendous fear. Why? Religion is not for fear. When I study stories, I have to see the in-depth of the stories. It's not a cock and bull story. There is a hidden meaning in that, behind it. Why I am not trying to know that? Why I want to close my eyes? Why cannot I see the hidden in-depth meaning behind that, behind the stories, behind that ritual? What is the purpose? If I do not know that, I have to pay the price to the entire life, to my future generation also. I am not growing. I am not allowing others to grow, to my family members also. How can I allow others? Therefore, I become an obstacle, an impediment to others' thinking also. Their thinking also become an impediment to me. If I am not having a broad mind, open-mindedness. And that's why always have a zeal, interest for learning. Never stop, never stagnate. Never stagnate. Of course, we have a lot of responsibilities, duties. It's a lot of responsibility. Taking care of body, taking care of family, taking care of so many things. It's true. But that is not the life only. That is only not life. There is much more. These are all instruments. Body is instrument, sense organs are instruments, mind is instrument, family is an instrument. Whole family. Society is an instrument for me to grow. I have to use this society. I have to use my body, mind, sense organs, my daughter, my son, husband, wife. All are only helpers for you to grow spiritually. For your inner clarity, inner peace, ananda. Therefore, better not to shut the doors of my intelligence. Let us not shut the doors of our intelligence. Let us be a true Hindu. True Sanatana Dharma. I have to be an embodiment of true Sanatana Dharma. Not a blind Hindu. Not a superstitious Hindu. I don't want to be like that. It is not good for me. It is not good for my family. It is not good for my society. Therefore, I have to be in the rituals. I have to be in that tapas, austerities, meditations, sadhana. At the same time, I have to be in the philosophy also. No vehicle can travel with a single wheel. Two wheels are important. Two wings are important for a bird to fly. Understand. We are so fortunate to have this opportunity. We have to utilize it. The time is very precious. Age is also very precious. An intelligent person is one who makes use of the time. Time is money. Money is not money. Time is money. Knowledge is money. Every second I have to grow. Every second I have to grow. So, what I want to communicate, see that religion means it is not a simple religion. A religion is that which has got rituals plus the story part. Never discard the stories. Each story has got a tremendous value. Each story. You have to extract from Ramayana, Bharata, Bhagavata, and 18 Puranas, 18 Upapuranas. You have to extract. What you have is not the question. What you are is important. What you have doesn't matter. What you are is matter. What am I? What am I? So therefore, be in that synthesis, in that integration. Otherwise, yoga word itself is meaningless. Yoga means I am not talking about asana, pranayama, meditation. The definition of yoga. What is the definition of yoga? Yoga means communion. Communion of what? Jivatma, Paramatma, Aikyam. Jivatma, Paramatma, Aikyam. That is called yoga. How Jivatma, Paramatma, Aikyam can take place? If you stop with only rituals, puja, worshipping, only if you are doing rituals only, homa, yaga, all these things, you can never have that communion with God. Only meditation if you do also, upasana, tapasya, austerities you follow, no rituals, no karma kanda also, you cannot have that communion. You follow whole religion, but you are not having the taste of the philosophy. You cannot have communion with God. As long as you have not attained that communion with God, I am the Jivatma is none other than Paramatma. I have to claim one day or other. Why one day or other? Why not now? Why one day or other? Why not now? Who is asking this question? Every Vyasa Purnima, Vyasacharya is asking. And every Guru Purnima day, Vyasacharya is reminding, next Janma Moksham Varma, next Janma. Why next Janma? I am ready to give you in this Janma itself. Why next Janma? So Vyasacharya every year comes and reminds us. No? Vyasa Bhagavan Acharya, Vyasacharya, we call him as Bhagavan Vyasacharya. Bhagavan Vyasacharya is the pioneer, forerunner of this Vedantic tradition, forerunner of this entire Puranas, Puranic mythology and Vedanta. He is the pioneer, forerunner. We have to regenerate ourselves and we seek the blessings of all our acharyas. Narayanam Padmabhuvam Vasishtham Shaktim cha Tatpuntra Parasharam cha Vyasam Shukam Gaudapadam Mahantam. From there onwards up to our Shankaracharya, present Gurus, Acharyas, all their blessings we have to seek, and we have to grow further and further in our spiritual pursuit. And we have to live as a true Hindu and do justice to our dharma. దిస్ ఇస్ కాల్డ్ పితృరుణం అన్నారు. ఋషి రుణం, నాట్ పితృరుణం, ఋషి రుణం అన్నారు. Rishi Ranam. Even our Pitrus also happy when we live like this. Of course, our ancestors, who are they? All our rishis, Bharadwaja Gotram, Kaundinyasa Gotram, Atreya Gotram, who are they? We are all belong to that sages. Rishi Ranam. Therefore, we have to remember all those acharyas and seek their blessings. With this, I conclude today's talk. Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.